Yo, 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 what up, YouTubers? Pete here. I'm bringing you a must-have video. These are the tools and equipment you must have, you need to have, you have to have in order to do, to paint, basically. So if you're a painter like I am, like I'm a contractor, so it's essential that I have these tools. So I'm gonna break everything down, what exactly that I use it, what I use it for, and all that stuff. So let's turn the camera around so you guys can see everything I got going on. I kind of staged it so you guys can have an idea. Usually I have everything scattered out, but it's an important items. These are important items to have. So here we go. Alrighty. So first things first, let's take a glance around of everything I have here. This is what I'm using on this job, and this is what you gotta have. So let's do a quick breakdown. First things first, let's talk about bucket. Empty bucket always. You gotta have a clean one and then one for like what I use. This one is when I'm done mixing my paint, I just put this in there. You gotta have a paint paddle, your mixing paddle. You just put it in there so it can get all that extra paint off, so you can set it somewhere down, preferably on top of a bucket cap or a rag or something, to where if any paint's gonna drip, it stays there. It won't go on nice floors and all that stuff. Another important items to have are a broom and a dustpan. You gotta have that. It's essential. A broom, you gotta use it to sweep up. Also, you can use this to get the cobwebs in the corner, get all that stuff off. It's very important to have that, man. It's like real important to have it. What else? Here we go. You gotta have your paint pan and your paint. I just purchased this about a month ago, or more than a month ago. I've had this for a couple months already. It's a 5-gallon paint bucket that you can paint right out of it with an 18-inch roller. This is a 1/2 inch nap. This is so you can go on thick, and then I got the Marathon 3/8 nap on this one as well. I prefer to use this one first to just basically seal my walls. It's gonna be spotty in some spots, and then I usually hit it with the 1/2 inch last. People's like, oh, Pete, why you do it that way? That's the way I do it. Everybody has their own way. That's what works for me. That's the way I like to use it. This thing has a lid, has a liner. This lid goes right over. It covers the paint, so if you're gone, you're gonna go and dip for a couple hours, you could cover it up, you'll be fine. Then the liner as well. This liner is very durable, very strong. I've used it more than 12 times already and rinsed it out. The paint comes right off, man. It's fucking awesome. So put this back. Next thing, this is a bigger paint pan. I don't like using them smaller paint pans, as you guys can see. It's deeper, it holds more paint. I believe about 1 gallon. Which you can just keep going. Like keep filling, keep going, and stuff like that. Must have your paint rollers and your paint roller cover. This one has paint on it, that's why I got covered up with plastic. It's been like this for like 3 days. I'm telling you, it's still wet. My roller cover is still in good shape. I have a 1/2 inch Marathon, a 9-inch roller cover, and the nap is gonna be 1/2 inch Marathon by Purdy. And then I have this long one, which I really like. I could get into a lot of places, like you see behind that radiator. Like I can get behind there I could go behind real deep and get most of that stuff, which has been really effective for me, and I really like it. Every tool has its job. All right, let's talk about your paint poles. I have this one right here. It's a 4 to 8 feet. It's by Purdy, and I have the 2 to 4 feet paint pole. It's not only for painting. You can also hook it up to a sander and whatever else attachments you have at the end. So it's very handy to have at least these two. I have another one, a longer one, and I actually have just a stick, a 2 foot stick too. It's fucking awesome though. I have everything, man, you know, but this is what you have to have. All right, I have my ladders. I also have something else coming in that I'm excited to show you guys, but I'm not gonna talk about it yet. That thing that I have coming in would have been perfect for this house, I tell you. But anyway, this is a 4-foot ladder with a bucket in the back. Basically, you know, you're working, you put your stuff in here. It's basically a perfect catch-all. These rubber bands came out all the windows that I was installing, so, you know, but I can use them for something, I'm pretty sure. You know, wires, all types of uses. So this is my accessory to this ladder. I gotta buy another one. I'm gonna buy a 6-footer and an 8-footer of this blue one. Then I have this 6-footer right here. This is where you can put your paint bucket and all that stuff. You know, it's perfect for what I need it for. You know, so these are the must-have items right here. All right, let's talk about tools. You always gotta have a go bag. You know, hand tools always at the ready. Screwdriver, nail puller, pliers, just an assortment of tools, drill. And then I have my other bag, which I have my hammer, my bigger stuff in. That won't fit in there. You know, I got side cutters over here. You know, dikes. People get offended with that word. Listen, that's what they called it when I was an apprentice as an electrician. That's what I've been calling it, and I think that's what I will call it for the rest of my life until I die. And then I'll have the videos to tell you what I think, what I call them. So it'll be forever. All right, now, the cart. Let's talk about this cart. This cart, it's very important to stay mobile at a job, like a station. You know, you gotta have a setup. You gotta be able to be able to go to one place in order to, you know, just concentrate everything in one spot. So when you need it, you keep going to that one spot. This is my mobile workstation, my cart, tool cart. You could just move this from room to room, man. Like, you know, you're done in this room, okay, I'm going to the other room. You got your paint buckets here and all that stuff, and in and out, no problem. You know, this is what works. You know, this is pretty cool to have. All right, so let's talk about what I got on the top. I have 2 paint buckets here. One is the one, you know, for cutting in, and then I have a bigger bucket. There's a 2-gallon bucket with a 2-gallon strainer, and then, you know, it's always good to have buckets. You know, you can just throw a bunch of shit in there. You know, you don't want it laying around and whatnot. It's good to have, basically. So now that's that. You know, oh man, if you guys don't have one of these, get one, man. This shit is so efficient. You got the liners. I got hundreds of these liners. I found it on clearance in Home Depot, and I snatched almost all of them up. Some guy was looking at me like he got mad, so I left a couple there for him. But you know, I have common courtesy. You know, I always got to do the right thing. All right, now let's talk about my brushes. I'm gonna talk to you guys real quick. These 2 brushes right here are my go-to brushes. These 2 right here, not my go-to, but the bigger brushes. These 2 right here, these 2 brushes are my go-to cutting brushes. I also have the Clear Cut and Clear Cut Elite. You know, I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars invested in brushes, but I find that these are my 2 go-to brushes. This is a brand by Sherwin-Williams, Contractor Series, 2.5 inch. You know, and this brush right here, I call it the one with the rat's tail. I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna tell you, I love this brush. Why? Because when I'm cutting in, it gives me that straight line that I'm looking for. You know, but the thing is with this one, it is super rigid. It is very stiff, you know, and that helps me get my clean cuts, you know, like a good cut in. Like I can get a real good cut in with this. Bad thing about this brush is it doesn't lay down as much paint as I wanted. But this brush, I like it. I would keep buying these over and over. I actually have like 5 of these now. And this one is my Purdy. This is the one I used to cut in as well. It's a 2.5 inch with the rat's tail. For some reason I like it. You know, I like to clean my brushes out as much as possible, so it may not look like it hasn't been used. Trust me, it's been used. And plus, I use a lot of good chemicals, you know, not harmful to the brush, but to clean it up and get all the extra paint. Now, this brush right here it's medium stiff, so it allows me to carry more paint in here, in between the bristles, in the reservoir right here, you know, and I can just cut in, and, you know, like this I usually use for the second cut in, usually the final cut in. As you guys can see, it looks real good, you know. I did the final cut in because it had the halo effect. Now I don't have it anymore, you know. That's what I use that for. I have a video showing this brush. I'll probably show it at a later time. But these are my two go-to brushes when I'm cutting in. Now, the reason I have these bigger brushes up here in the bucket, let me finish this here. The reason I have these bigger brushes because I could get to cover more area. I honestly haven't used it. This thing looks like shit, but trust me, I have not used it at all. I can't wait to do it. Can't wait to use it. Brand new. I can't wait to use it because I want to see the actual quality of product it can leave me. You know, like, you know, the good quality work. And the same thing with the Wooster. I'm hearing a lot of good things about Wooster. I placed an order for more brushes like Coronas and I think another brand. I forgot the name of it. I think it's Blaze. So I'll let you know how that goes. But this is my go-to to cut in. They're bigger, they're not smaller. I can get exactly to where I gotta get into, especially when you're doing, you know, you're cutting in like into areas like this. You know, there's a lot of cutting in. You know, you want that good finish. Like, you want to be able to get in here. That brush that I showed you, those two brushes, are real good for this stuff, man. Lighting is a little bad here, but we look good here. Oh, that's old paint. You guys can see different paint. It wasn't me. I gotta sand all this down. Let's see what else. All right, so now we're talking about that. Let's talk about caulking guns, man. It's good to have at least two caulking guns in a set because you'll forget where you put one and then you'll have the other. Like, this one has the hook. I like this one. I buy a couple of these throughout the year and I always lose it. Like, if you're on the ladder or something, you could hook it up, you know, and done, like right there. You don't have to worry about finding extra real estate for it like this one. But still, it's good to have caulking guns. You know, you got a hole, you got to fill in behind a baseboard or a trim. You know, you got to caulk around the windows and all that stuff. You know, no brainer. Now, let's get into the other stuff. Dust brush, basically a duster. That's what these two are for. This is the Purdy 2-inch, I think, and this one. You know, like when you get up there and you got to cut in on top and you usually have a lot of dust after sanding, you just wipe it off, you know? So this is must-haves. What else? Lighting. Lighting is very important to have in a room. You know, this is my go-to light. I've had this light for many years. I had two of these. The other one went missing immediately. But this one is like, since it looks more beat up and more older, I guess they didn't want to steal this one. But this one right here will light up a whole room in the dark. You know, and you can angle it to where you want it. You know, you want it there, you want to face a corner in a certain area where you're working. You turn it on, it'll light up that whole area. Trust me when I say this is good to have. They sell bigger ones. I'm just comfortable with this one. It works for me. And then I already spoke about this box. I mean, this tool bag and that tool bag. Now, another thing is the tape. Tape and paper, tape gun. You gotta have it. It's just a must-have. You know? All right, let's talk about sanding things down. When you're prepping a house, you're prepping a room to paint, after you caulked and all that stuff, and spackled, covered up holes and stuff, you gotta have a sander. This is a 360 sander. I love it. It covers a big area, man. It covers a huge, huge area. You can't go wrong with one of these, man. So get one. hand sander. You know, I have the grid on it. It's not sandpaper, it's wire mesh. Usually I use that for my bigger corners, the harder stuff. It works good, you know. And then after I'm done sanding down with this one right here, I usually use the sand blocks. You know, this is the brand new one. I haven't beaten it up yet. This is an older one. You know, to make it a fine surface in order to be able to prime it and paint it. Another sand block. And then this is for sheetrock when you're cutting in, covering holes and patches and stuff. And you know, you measured it, you cut the measurements, but it's still too big. You can shave at the ends of the sheetrock with this. This is awesome. I don't know why it's here though, because then I have an extra roller for that smaller roller. And then let's put this stuff in here because I'm not using it anymore. Probably gonna be using it next hour or so. But let's talk about your knives. You gotta have them, man. This, I have two of these. One usually I leave on a cart. Like I'll put one here, and then this one goes into my back pocket. You know, while I'm painting, I got it there with my duster and then my rag. You know, but this is just to patch holes and, you know, cracks and all that stuff. It's good to have, man. You know, I'm all purdied out. It's so pretty. This is a good one too to have. You know, you gotta have your knives, man. This is if you want to skim coat a wall or something with compound. Or the wall's all fucked up. This is the must-have right here. You know, I just used it. You guys can see it dried up. But you gotta have this stuff right here, man. Another thing that I'm not talking about, that I don't have with me here now, because I don't need it. Dust mask. You gotta have dust masks. You gotta have eyewear. You gotta have gloves. And then rags. Always try to have a couple rags laying around. That's why I have this sponge as well. You know, I wet it. If I'm caulking, I can always wipe the extra caulk on that and that's it. And then wash it off. What else? Drop cloths is a must-have. This, I have this whole place covered in plastic, so we're pretty much covered on that, you know. But I also have extra piece of carpet there that I use to mix my paint in and all that stuff. You know, there's other items that I'm not touching on, like extension ladders and all that stuff. But this is what I'm doing. This is my must-have as a solo owner-operator of my business. I usually have help. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But this is everything I use when I'm solo. When I have more people, you know, I usually I'll give, you know, the guy a bucket, throw a couple brushes in here, give him exactly what he needs. This is your job for the day. This is your work bucket. Make sure everything comes back in it and we're good to go. Hopefully I covered a lot of stuff, man. You know, this is my must-have on any and every paint job. Each job is differently. You know, we can talk about sanders and you know, angle grinders and all that other stuff. But for now, this is what we got. I have all that stuff in my van. I didn't feel like I needed it because I'm not using it today. Take a good look, take a note. You know, this is my must-have when painting. Any questions, any comments, please leave them. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Peace.